Hey everyone, what's up? It has been a while since we've been to Islands of Adventure, but we're back and we're going to check out VelociCoaster 1 month after grand opening. We're going to see how it's affected the parks, what's changed, what's new, if there is anything new, which there's a lot throughout the parks that are new. But yeah, just general update. I'm excited to be here. It's been a little bit since I've done a vlog. I've been here a bunch since the last video. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the park, shall we? One thing to note though, crowds are back. The park is in full swing. You know, it's the middle of summer, so it is busy, it is hot, but the weather's looking good. There's a lot of clouds in the sky, but it's not supposed to rain. Hopefully it doesn't at least. But yeah, so it looks like the parks are back in full swing. There was no line at the ticketing gate to get into the park, which was great. Absolutely great, just walked right in. But that's also because I'm getting here a little late. It's about 1:32-ish by the time I'm getting here. So a little later in the day, but the park is open till 10 o'clock tonight, and Studios is open till 9. So hopefully we'll be able to get a lot in still. It's definitely hot in the parks during summer, but man, they look beautiful with everything in full bloom. Just looks great. And here she is, VelociCoaster. She is running, and she is running smoothly and beautifully, as always. It's still absolutely crazy, even a month after grand opening and about 2 months since previews. It is still just absolutely crazy to look across this lagoon and see it running with people on it. So it's up, it's running, it's looking good. One thing I do have to point out though is, wow, look at that massive line to get on VelociCoaster. One of my only negatives of this ride is when it has a long queue, all of it is out in the sun. Like only the last 20 minutes of the wait is inside. That sucks. We're gonna head over there now though and get in the single riders line to see how fast that is. If you want my thoughts on how the line moves in the normal queue, go ahead and check out the initial review of the VelociCoaster that we did during previews. But now, I want to check out the single riders line, see how fast that moves, and just like what the experience is like. So let's head over there and I'll let you know. Lost Continent, the bypass bridge is open, which this should be a regular thing now that VelociCoaster's over here. One update though is that they did create a massive metal structure to act as like netting for this near upside down element here on the helix section. I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of it, but let's get a closer look. It is a metal structure with netting in between. Same sort of netting that they have actually attached to the ride. So sometimes you just strike some bad luck when you go to theme parks, and unfortunately, I struck some bad luck with the VelociCoaster. Apparently today, the single riders line has been down all day. They said there is a chance of it reopening, but they said they're having issues with the AC in the queue line, I suppose. I don't really know why that's too much of an issue. Unfortunately, the single riders line has been closed all day. However, I will take some of the magic out of the YouTube video making. There's no magic in that anyway, so whatever. I actually have done single riders in the past. So let me give you a review of my past experience, at least, with the single riders. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you guys what it's like, but I'll give you my experience anyways. So typically on rides that are 2 across seating, meaning that per row there's only 2 seaters opposed to your traditional 4 seaters, or sometimes even 3. On rides that have 2 seating across, single riders is usually hit or miss. Like Hagrid's and Rip Ride Rocket are great examples of this. I've never really had all that great experiences on either of those rides when it comes to single riders. They're very hit or miss, and sometimes you end up waiting just as long in the single riders as you do the normal riders, simply because it's a lot easier to break down people's groups into even 2s than it is to break them down into 3s or 4s. So you end up getting a lot more single rider throughput on rides that have more than 2 seats across. That being said though, I've done single riders about 3 times on VelociCoaster, and I do have to say, I've had a great experience on that ride. I don't know what it is about the ride, maybe just because there is a lot of throughput in general on that ride. That ride has a very high capacity. Because of that, I've actually had a pretty great experience in single riders on VelociCoaster. The only negative, though, that I would have to say is they do cut out pretty much all of the story in single riders. You don't get really any of the cool effects that you would see in the normal line or the express line. It's been all cut out, which you can pretty much expect from any single rider's line. Some rides do a pretty good job at still including a storyline in single riders. VelociCoaster, not so much. So it's a great option if you want to just get on and get off that ride and not worry about the story or anything. However, I do suggest to anyone coming to Universal or Disney that before you do Express or Fast Pass or single riders or any of that stuff, I would say ride the ride in its normal line at least once, so you can get the whole experience, the full storyline, everything. Because when people are creating these rides and building these rides, they really do make sure that the experience is for the normal guest. And you might be missing something if you take another route on getting on that ride. But in the 3 times that I've done single riders on VelociCoaster, I've only waited about 5 minutes. It's basically a walk-on. I had pretty much no wait to get to the locker system, which is, by the way, the locker system is the same system that they have in the normal line. So if you want to see how that works, check out my full review as well. But yeah, so getting to the locker system was basically no wait. Right after that, it goes straight into the loading area, just like the normal line. And that's pretty much the only place that I waited. I waited in line maybe 5 minutes, maybe even less, just so they could seat me on the coaster and get me out of there. Great experience. So if you're not worried about storyline or the whole overall atmosphere and experience of the ride, and you just want a good adrenaline rush, get on, get off sort of situation, single riders, I'm glad to say I can very, very much recommend single riders on VelociCoaster. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this one in particular, with it being 2 seats across. Maybe just because it has a lot of capacity in general on the ride. But yeah, other rides like that haven't had a great experience, but VelociCoaster is doing a great job. Although it's not an Islands of Adventure, it's only appropriate if we check out the Jurassic World Tribute Store in honor of the VelociCoaster's opening. I know this isn't news, but we still haven't done it yet on this channel, believe it or not, so let's go ahead and check it out.
Yeah, I passed this yesterday, but I didn't go in.
Are you guys getting changed for the? So that's not currently working. We take care of that. Did I tell you?
These are some of the posters that you can find in the queue line for VelociCoaster. The man himself, John Hammond. And the statue is screen used in the original Jurassic World movie. Alright, so VelociCoaster, 1 month later. My thoughts, my opinions, well, honestly, nothing has really changed too much. It's still a world-class coaster, even after, I don't know how many rides I've had at this point, but it's probably around 20 rides. Even after that many rides, it is still, in my opinion, a world-class coaster. POVs don't do it justice. You really do just have to get down here and experience it for yourself. So my experiences haven't really changed at all. I would still say that what I said in my initial review still holds up. So again, if you want to know more about that, go check out that initial review. But I do want to talk a little bit about the state of the park related to VelociCoaster because, you know, I feel like a lot of parks, especially Florida parks such as Busch Gardens is a big one, but also, as everyone would expect me to say, Disney, a lot of parks in the Florida area are, you know, either constructing or have constructed rides, and they just haven't opened. And I feel like a lot of people were looking at Universal and the VelociCoaster specifically to see how is the future going to pan out? Like, when can we open these rides, and how soon? Like they're really taking a look at the success of the VelociCoaster to determine what they're going to do. I mean, especially Busch Gardens, more so Busch Gardens than Disney. Disney kind of has their plan already, but I feel like the world's eyes have been on VelociCoaster. And in terms of business, in terms of crowds, it's a success. It's a huge success. When I walked up to the VelociCoaster, I can't tell you how many people I heard say, yo, this is the coaster of the trip. Like, I heard one specific group say, out of the entire trip, this is the coaster I'm looking forward to most. VelociCoaster. So that's pretty big. I mean, it's big enough that people are going on vacation, taking trips, planning trips around specifically this ride. I will say though that this is the most claustrophobic I've felt in this park since before COVID. I know that some people that doesn't bother them at all. For other people it does. For me personally, for health reasons, I have not been vaccinated. So that's why you have seen me wear a mask in this video, because I want to keep myself safe, but I also want to keep others safe. It's not over for me yet. It might be over for a lot of people, but it's not over for me. So that's definitely a big concern for a lot of people, considering that not everyone is vaccinated, and Universal has pretty much gotten rid of every precaution that they were doing during the COVID period. So yeah, that's a big impact of the VelociCoaster. Very good for Universal, but it's definitely something to consider when you're planning a trip here, because there's a new ride. And not only is it a new ride, but it's like a world-class coaster. Like, it's one of the best coasters out here. In my opinion, it is the best coaster in Florida. And it's definitely in the top 5 of my personal list, like I said. Because of that, there's a big draw to this park specifically. So yeah, I think that's the biggest impact that I've seen, is just like, before VelociCoaster opened, it was busy. But after VelociCoaster opened, I would say that it has definitely returned back to normal, if not exceeded where the crowd level was before VelociCoaster. Thank you so much for checking out this update of VelociCoaster. I hope you learned something. I hope you thought it was interesting. I hope you had a great time, because I sure did. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of this, go ahead and subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when we post more videos just like this. And also, if you'd be so kind, go ahead and give this video a like. It really helps more people just like you enjoy the content that you love to watch. So hit that like button as well. But anyways, thank you guys so much for following along today. Even though we didn't get to ride VelociCoaster, it was still a great time. Very busy, but also a great relaxing time just checking out the parks. But anyways, that'll be it for me. My name's John for Theme Park Center. Have a good one. Remember, the adventure lives on.